Alright, what is up guys, Nate4 here and welcome back to another movie review, and today we are talking about Uncharted, alright, because if you've been on the channel for a while now with me, or you know me personally, you know I love Uncharted, so now the fact that it's getting the movie treatment, I'm really excited for it, and I have a lot to discuss with you guys in this one, so, you know, we're gonna hop straight into it. You guys know the typical format for how we do things. First half is like just talking about the movie in general, kind of, nothing really spoiler-ish. And then once we get to the halfway point, which I announce it, then that's when the spoilers start. So that's when like you click off if you don't want any spoilers. And this movie, I don't know, because it had a lot of things going against it behind the scenes. The movie just got delayed so much. It had different directors doing this project because nobody really wanted to finish it. And then people found out that Nate and Sully were going to be played by, you know, Tom Holland and Mark Wahlberg, and people weren't too happy about it. And then the trailer dropped for it a few months ago, and people were just like, ugh. It was meant to be some mixed reviews, okay? Some people were like, okay, this looks like a fun, average, generic action movie. And then a lot of other people were just like, this looks bad. So let's go ahead and talk about it, okay? Because I have lots of feelings towards this film, and we're going to see, is it like another instance of another video game movie that should just stick to the games, or is this one a pleasant surprise? And I'm going to be giving you guys my honest opinion. Even though I am a huge Uncharted fan, I'm not going to be biased towards it. I'm not going to be like, oh yeah, 10 out of 10, go watch it right away. You know, I'm going to be honest, obviously. So yeah, let's hop straight into it. Now, honestly, this movie, it depends on who you are, honestly. So, like, if you're not, like, a huge Uncharted fan, you didn't play through the games, or you just don't really care for the franchise all that much, then, you know, the movie's going to be, like, a fun watch. It's going to be a pretty good time for you. But if you're someone who's, like, a die-hard Uncharted fan, you played through the games, you know the stories, then it's kind of going to be, like, iffy for you. And a lot of it is because of the casting. A lot of people just didn't really feel Nathan Drake and Sully as Tom and Mark, which is pretty understandable, because I guess like a long time ago this movie was in development and Mark Wahlberg was actually supposed to be Nate, but then he kind of like aged out of it, so they were just like, you're gonna be Sully now. So that was already kind of off-putting, and a lot of people were just feeling like Nathan Fillion should have been the role of Nathan Drake, because if you don't know, there's like a short, like a little fan film online, and it's really good. And it stars Nathan Fillion. I'll leave it in the link in the description below if you want to check it out. It's really good. And the thing is about that is, like, when you have people saying like that movie, that short film that's like maybe 14-16 minutes long or so, is better than a live action, big budget, theatrical released movie, that's a problem. And this movie, I do think that the critics are being a little rough on it. It's like being a little too harsh, because it's not a bad movie. It's pretty much, honestly, like a very generic, average, like pretty predictable action movie, if I'm being honest. But I think it does more good than bad. That's just me personally. Like I said, it's not like a perfect movie or anything, but it depends on how you go into watching it. Like, even when I first saw the first trailer, I was like, okay, this looks okay. You know, I don't think it's gonna be amazing. I don't think it's gonna break any records or anything, but I'm like, it doesn't look horrible. I think if you go into it with an open mind, then there's some fun to be had with this movie. I mean, like, don't get me wrong, I really enjoyed Tom Holland, I really enjoyed Mark Wahlberg and everything, but it's just when I was watching him in this movie, I wasn't like, that's Nathan Drake, or that's Victor Sullivan. I just kind of felt like that's Mark Wahlberg and like a cooler version of Peter Parker. That's pretty much what I got from it. And it's like, Mark Wahlberg, he's not really old enough yet to be Sully, and Tom Holland's not really old enough yet to be Nathan Drake. So I get what they're trying to do. They're putting like their own little spin on it, you know, like they're trying to make them younger so that way they can set up for more movies if this one does well. Because you have to keep in mind, even if this movie gets horrible reviews and everything, as long as it does well financially, it's going to get a sequel. And there are 2 post-credit scenes. I'm not going to say what they are or anything, but there are 2 post-credit scenes, so you can kind of get a glimpse of them kind of setting up for more movies, depending on if this movie does well enough, which I hope it does. Because, you know, I feel like if this one was kind of just like average and generic, they can only go up from there, but who knows. But I don't know, this movie, it's just generic. It just feels like you know what's gonna happen. It feels predictable, and it's kind of just weird because they're putting their own little spin on it. Like, if you've seen the trailer, you know they made Nate like a bartender and everything, and you're just like, that wasn't in the games. You're just like, okay, I guess. And they're trying to mix different elements from different moments and different plot points of the games into one film, and it does feel kind of messy at times. So like they're trying to do like stuff from like Uncharted 4 and put it into here, Uncharted 3 with like the airplane scene and everything, and Uncharted 2 with Chloe and everything. So it just feels like they're kind of just mashing a lot into it, which could work depending on the writing and the runtime and everything, but at times it just felt like the pacing was a little off at times. And like there's like two instances where like two key characters in the story just kind of like disappear for a while, and it feels just kind of weird. But I do kind of get the impression where it's like, if you're like, okay, I just saw this trailer online, it looks fun, I like Tom Holland, I like Mark Wahlberg, so I want to see this movie. I've never played through the games or anything. If you have that kind of mindset, then I think that you'll end up enjoying it for yourself. But if you're like a diehard fan, you know all the games like the back of your hand and everything, then it's going to be kind of infuriating for you, honestly. And I don't know, it's just like, I really wanted to like this movie, and I do, but it's like it could have been better. I feel like they had the potential to make this movie great, but they just didn't really capitalize on it all the way. So honestly, it just left me satisfied, because that's exactly what I expected. When I saw the trailer, I was just like, generic action movie. As long as it's fun, as long as it's like a good watch, that's all I care about. And to be honest, that's what it was. It didn't really leave me with a bad taste in my mouth. I wasn't disappointed or anything. At the end of the day, this was just a very generic, very predictable action film. It has its elements of Uncharted, which are cute, like little references and Easter eggs in the movie and everything. But at the end of the day, it just was like, it's okay. I'd watch it again. But it's like, you know, hopefully this movie does well, because if they do a sequel, it has to be better than this one, and that's really all I want. But now let's get into some spoiler territory, okay? So if you don't want to hear any spoilers, you can just go away for now. So yeah, let's hop straight into it, man, because this movie, it's strange, okay? It's strange, because they have Antonio Banderas in this movie as like the main villain and everything, but he just feels very one-dimensional and very just generic, and they don't really utilize him well enough in this movie, to the point where you're just like, they kind of wasted him in this role, even though he could have been really good and interesting. And they have Nate, Sully, and Chloe in this game. In this movie. And Chloe I actually really liked, man. Huge shout out to the lovely and beautiful Sophia Ali. I really enjoyed her as Chloe. I think she did what she needed to do. And Tom Holland, he has his like little quips or whatever that Nathan Drake does, and you know, Nate and Sully, they do like the thing that they do when they banter in the games and everything, and it's okay. You'll be like, haha, that's funny, that's alright. But I don't know, like some of the line delivery and everything, it's kind of weird, because it's like, just because you have these characters saying things that they say in the game, it doesn't make them that character. So if you have Tom Holland saying crap like Nate does in the games, or you have Mark Wahlberg saying kid like Sully does in the games, it's like, just because they say it doesn't make them the character. So like if I put on a shield on my forearm and I'm like, I can do this all day, it doesn't make me Captain America. Okay? And I get their big names and everything, but it's like, you can't rely on star power to save a movie, okay? That's pretty much it. It's just, we like them, we do, but it's like they weren't the right fits for the role, if that makes sense. And you know, it has its like little cute moments in the movie where you'd be like, oh my god, like that's a good little reference to the game. And I realized that this movie would kind of be in trouble, because all the trailers, all the ads, all the commercials, you can really see that they were really pushing for the airplane scene from Uncharted 3. And it's like, dude, like they are really pushing this. This must be like the main thing that they are really hoping for. And it kind of shows, you know, that's what they put the most attention and detail into, it seems like. And I don't know, it seems a little goofier in this one than it did in the game, but it was cool. It was alright. I enjoyed it for the most part. It puts like its own little twist on it. And that is something that people have to realize, is that there's no such thing as a perfect representation of a video game movie. So like if you watch Mortal Kombat, it's not just like the games. If you watch Sonic, it's not just like the games. If you watch Resident Evil, it's not just like the games. Same thing for this movie. So there's not really a real representation of a video game movie that's exactly like the games. And that's something that people have to realize, because if they do that, it's kind of like, why am I paying to watch this when I can just play it? So you kind of have to realize, like, they made some changes and everything. Like, it's understandable, at least in my opinion. Some things can be like a good change, some things are kind of like a iffy change. And that's the thing with this movie. They make some changes where it's like, because Uncharted, the games have like already like really good writing and really good storytelling. So the fact that this movie feels the need to kind of just like change it up and everything, it feels kind of like, I don't know, man. It's kind of just weird. Maybe that's just me, man. Maybe I'm just tripping. I don't know. But like I said, it does have like its little cool moments where you'd be like, hey man, that's like from the game. Like when they mention Sam and everything from Uncharted 4, and we get Chloe from Uncharted 2, we get the airplane scene from Uncharted 3, you get them stealing the cross at the auction like from Uncharted 4, and you'll get like these little like cute references and things. You'd be like, oh man, they're using stealth right here. Oh, that like attack they stole from the game, and it's cool, you know, it's alright. And you know, they have a really cool cameo from Nolan North in the movie. And when I was watching it, like, it's like nobody knew who he was, even though his voice sounds exactly like Nate's. So like when I was in the movie, he didn't get like a huge pop like, you know, Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire in No Way Home. So it's kind of like, I felt like he should have got like a bigger pop. I don't know, maybe it was just the group of people I was watching it with, I don't know. But it was cool to see him in the movie because, you know, he is Nathan Drake. His voice, his charisma and everything, he did just such a good job. And honestly, I don't know, because it's like Nathan Fillion, he would have just did the role so much justice, I feel like. Even though he's not nearly as big as Tom Holland, it's like sometimes star power doesn't equal success at the end of the day. So, I mean, as long as the movie does well enough, it's gonna get a sequel regardless. Like both of the Venom movies, they didn't get great reviews, but they did well financially, so they're gonna keep on making them. So hopefully this movie can kind of get that way too. But man, if you enjoyed this video, feel free to drop a like on it, share it, and subscribe if you are new. And I feel like I have to give this movie about like a 7 out of 10. It's just too generic for me. But I'm in it for, and I'm out.